is Space News. With all the growing interest on a mission to Mars, we wanted to be the first station to bring you all the facts you'll need to know to understand what's going on. So let's get to it. Hello, I'm Garrett Frank, and I have the pleasure of sitting in with a NASA Mars expert. Could you tell us about the first successful mission to Mars?
NASA set off their first spacecraft, named Mariner 4, on November 28th of 1965.
Was Mariner 4 a successful mission?
Mariner 4 was a great successful mission. It arrived on July 14th of 1965. Its flight took a total of 228 days. Mariner 4 was actually the first spacecraft to even get close to Mars.
How much did it cost for Mariner 4 to be launched?
The total cost for Mariner 4 is estimated out at $83.2 million, but for all the research, development, launch, and support costs for the Mariner series spacecraft, Mariners 1 through 10, was approximately $554 million.
Very interesting. Are there any other missions you'd like to tell us about?
Yes, there are. Mariner 9 was another very successful mission. It was our first successful mission to orbit around Mars, and it was launched on May 30th of 1971.
Thank you for sitting in with us.
I'm sitting in with a NASA problem expert on our manned mission to Mars. Could you tell us about some of those problems?
Certainly. The first of which would be getting off Earth in the first place. There are a lot of supplies needed to get to Mars for the astronauts and for various other things. And the weight of that supplies would be immense, so we couldn't just send it in one big glump. We'd have to send it in a bunch of different missions. And of that weight, about 80% of it would be in rocket fuel alone, which leaks at about a rate of 4% per month due to its chemical composition. So we couldn't just set it out in space, and this is a very big problem.
That sounds like a very large problem. Are there any other problems about being to Mars?
Unfortunately, yes. There are massive amounts of radiation in the solar system and in space in general, and until we learn how to deal with these massive amounts of radiations to better protect our astronauts, we wouldn't be able to send one out there.
Sounds like astronauts could be in a lot of trouble if advancements are not made. I also hear that astronauts could be subjects to muscle and bone deterioration. Is this true?
Yes, it actually is. In space, astronauts have to work out about 2.5 hours per day just to maintain their muscle mass. And on a trip that's going to last 8 months, this is a very big issue to deal with.
Well, thanks for your time. Now back to a NASA correspondent who will explain the steps to Mars. I'm here with a NASA specialist telling us on how we can get to Mars. Thank you for joining us. Now that we've heard about the problems facing our manned mission to Mars, could you explain to us how you're going to send a crew to the red planet?
Absolutely. While robotic explorers have been studying Mars for more than 40 years, NASA's path for human exploration begins in low Earth orbit above the International Space Station. Astronauts on the orbiting laboratory are helping us improve many of the technologies and communication systems needed for human exploration to deep space and eventually to Mars.
Great, but how will further advancements be made?
Our next step is deep space, where NASA will send a robotic mission to capture and redirect an asteroid to orbit the Moon. Astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft will explore the asteroid in the 2020s, returning to Earth with samples. The experience in human spaceflight beyond low Earth orbit will help NASA test new systems and capabilities, such as solar electronic propulsion, which will need to send cargo as a part of the human mission to Mars, beginning in early 2018. NASA's powerful system rocket will enable these proving ground missions to test new capabilities. Human missions to Mars rely on Orion and an evolved version of SLS that will be the most powerful launch vehicle ever flown.
I understand there are some robotic spacecrafts on Mars. Am I correct?
As a matter of fact, you are. A fleet of robotic spacecraft and rovers are already on Mars, dramatically increasing our knowledge about the red planet and paving the way for future human explorers. The Mars Science Laboratory Curiosity rover measured radiation on the way to Mars and sending it back with radiation data from the surface. This data will help us plan how to protect astronauts who will explore Mars. Future missions, like the Mars 2020 rover, will also demonstrate new technologies that could help astronauts survive on Mars.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Sure. Engineers and scientists around the world are working hard to develop technologies astronauts will use to one day live and work on Mars, and return home safe for the next giant leap in humanity. NASA also is a leader in the global exploration roadmap, working with international partners and the U.S. commercial space industry on coordinating and expanding the human presence in the solar system, with human missions to Mars as the driven goal. All of this will hopefully lead to a successful mission to Mars in the 2030s.
In conclusion, many missions from the past and missions to be conducted in the future will help overcome today's problems with the mission to Mars. That's all for tonight, and
And
thanks
thanks
for
for
watching.
watching.